Hello, legends and legendsettes. Welcome to Love is a Battlefield, the domestic violence podcast. My name is Tilly Moore, and today is episode 37, How I Met The Perpetrator. So it's a bit of a story time, bit of a hashtag Resetisa vibe. And I have no notes, I have no memories I've thought of. I'm just going to run my mouth and go from day one, just how I met them, nothing more, because if we're going to get any deeper, we're going to be here for 365 years. I don't know why the amount of years was the same as how many days are in a year, but not this year. It's a leap year. So let's get into it. This is where I'd really love to have like a jingle. I tried to in the early episodes, that really bad thing I made on GarageBand. It was really hard. Well, it'd be easier if you'd used it before. I just chucked a couple of sounds together. I thought, how hard is it to make a song? All these song makers just put a bit of piano, bit of a boom tish. It'd be sweet. Just layer it. I was like, layers. It's about the layers. Was nasty, and it actually hurt my ears. I'm sure it hurt yours too. But I would like to have a little do 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 thing in between the bits. But anyway, I digress as usual. Yeah, so how did I meet? So obviously today we're talking about the bad one, the one that went to prison for what they did to me. And if you are just tuning in, go back to the start, because then you'll know all the things. So unfortunately, I met this person online. Wouldn't do it again. I used to wonder why people said, "Oh, don't meet people online, they're all psycho." And I'm like, it's just people, and there's people in bars and clubs and everywhere that are not good and dangerous and not well mentally, and a risk. Like, people are people no matter where you go. So I was like, why would online be bad? Like, how there's people like, "I never date online, they're all psychos," yet you hear people have, like, got married and things, because it's still people online. It's not like only really trash people, men, go online or something. But, once bitten, twice shy is a saying that means if you get a bad experience, it actually makes you go, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that again." So, yeah, now I kind of get it. And I think it's just my age as well. Now I am not young. Have I told you? I keep trying not to. I'm just not young. I'm not old. That's for sure. But oh, I've thought I've been ancient since I was like 26. So anyway, my point is that men, when they get closer to middle age plus, that are single for a reason. Now, this is the most sexist thing, but who cares? Like, we live in a patriarchal, misogynistic society, so let me have my little 2 cents and moment of bit of projection against men. But my theory, that's really not nice, but whatever, is men from, like, I don't know, like, when do players get married? Probably mid to late 30s. Like, I'm thinking, when does a player finally settle down? Like, if they want to get married, it'll be then. So I'm thinking anyone, like, I don't know, like mid-30s maybe, but like we're talking like 40 plus, somewhere around there. Like, I don't know, like over 30, it starts to sort of go downhill from there. But anyway, men who are like middle age, because sometimes you want to date older people. So men who are like 40 plus or whatever, 35 plus or whatever, they're single for a reason. And I think men are single because of men, and women at that age are single because of men. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds bad, but like, literally, everything bad I say against men is evidence based, as in evidence that I have witnessed myself in my life. And I was very open and welcome to men giving me other evidence in my life. They're the ones that have given me all this shit evidence that they're not very nice. And little Disney princess me just kept going back, going, "No, I love you all. I think you're fantastic." So it took a lot to make me bitter. So y'all be doing the behaviors that gave me this evidence. Like, it's got to be nice from the start, and I wouldn't have come up with these really bitter sexist, like, assumptions. But anyway, like, I think men, I just don't trust men at a certain age, because I believe that they're probably single because, like, if they have been married, they're divorced because they or if they've been in a long-term relationship, they're not with them anymore because they cheated, did DV or some type of abuse, or both. So that's really negative, but the probability of finding someone who is like that as you get older, like I think 40 plus, like men, that's where it's like, ooh, you've really got to dodge red flags. Like if you meet a guy, like, why is he single? And if he's never got married, like I met a guy once and I was like, he wasn't married and he'd never been married, never had kids. And I was like a single mom and I was, okay, so I'll tell you my age. I'm like, somewhere nearly around 40, nearly. Nearly there. Around there. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so when I was like early-ish 30s, I met this guy and he had never been married, never had kids, and I was like, jackpot, this is so good. Like, what a find. I don't have the stress of like a situation with kids and mom. Not that that would be bad. I've had that as well, and I absolutely loved it. But I'd been with an abusive person who used triangulation, so I was like, yeah, it's just easier and like less stuff. I don't know. Anyway, it wasn't a big deal, but it was like, oh, that's just makes things a bit easier. And they'd never been married. I was like, oh, no baggage, because you know how everyone's like, oh, you've been married before, or have you been in really long relationships that haven't worked out, or you've got kids. Oh, well, you've got baggage. It's so bad. I've got no baggage. Let me tell you, PSA. PSA stands for Public Service Announcement. If a man or woman or anyone is getting on and they haven't had like a proper long-term relationship and they haven't had kids or been married, it doesn't necessarily mean they're totally amazingly psychologically and the best person ever. It just because they haven't gone through stuff and it hasn't worked. So this guy hadn't had a long-term relationship. It turned out the longest he had had was like 2 months or something. And I ended up being the longest relationship he's ever had, and it was a year we were together. And so, because I put up with being treated like absolute crap, because, at that point in my life, whenever that happened, I felt like I deserved it or something. And so, yeah, it wasn't the jackpot situation. So there's red flags for all variety of reasons. But I think when you get over 40, 45-ish, maybe around that age for men, I just think, okay, I get very suspect. Like, why are you single? Because, like, hello, look at my situation. It's like when I was young, I'm attracting red flag men. So now I've just given up because I'm like, if I attracted psychopaths, pedophiles, and freaking the biggest red flags ever when there was more in the dating pool, like people weren't married off, like there was more to choose from. How the frick am I going to go when 90% of the dating pool is people who have abused or cheated on their women, like they're single because they have failed at a relationship. And people always put it on us women, and I always felt it too, like, oh, I failed a relationship. But when you really, like, if you interviewed and surveyed everyone as to why they left their relationship, I'm sure there are people who grow apart. Definitely 100% people get married really young and things don't just work out. And I've had a relationship that ended and it wasn't, bad or anything like that. Like I've had some of those ones. So I'm sure they're like, and they're like the pearls. You're looking for pearls in the oysters, and that's what you're looking for. But knowing my luck, when there were more pearls in the ocean, and I couldn't find them, I found the rotten, evil little demon pearls. The metaphor, it's just not working. But you know what I mean. So online dating is risky business, and as you get older, it does get more risky because the uh, predators are more prevalent because as the dating pool decreases and people marry off, which is amazing, I love, what's left can be very not safe, nice people. So at the age I had met the perpetrator, I won't go in, as I said, I'm not going to go into detail of time or anything because I'm being very anal about not giving away any identifying information to cover everyone's butt. So, yeah, I wanted to go online at whatever age this was that I met this person, but I knew like Tinder had become, it got a name for itself at this stage, and it had become a very one night stand casual sex kind of app. And yeah, people had met on Tinder and they had got married. And I think, yay, that's cool. But every time I'd briefly use Tinder for 24 to 48 hours before losing all hope in humanity and deleting it, every single person was just about the sex, just about the sex, just about quick, whatever they wanted kind of thing. I didn't really see any people looking for relationships. And that was, again, a pearl. So people have found their pearls on Tinder. But yeah, so I was like, nah, okay. So what happened was when I met them, I was on a holiday and it was me and my children. And at night when they'd gone to bed, I wanted someone, because I had a balcony overlooking the ocean, and I wanted someone to have like a wine and cheese with, like mostly the cheese. Not a huge wine jigger, but maybe one or something, or like a drink, maybe a Malibu, Malibu is, if anyone doesn't have it where you are, it's a coconut rum. So it's like a spirit, but it's really low in alcohol. It's like 21%, and it's coconut flavored. So if you put that in a drink, it'd taste like tropical. Like, so you're at the beach? I don't know. Anyway, I wanted someone to, have a chat with, have a drink and a bit of cheese on a cracker on the balcony. It was so lonely. Once they went to bed at night, I was just lying in this bed and there was no free Wi-Fi where I was staying. And it was just really sad because I was all alone and I hit this point of, look, this is my last holiday by myself. Like, you try and be positive. You're like, that's it. I'm putting myself out there again because I can't do this anymore. I cannot, because I have taken them camping, like full on camping, all the stuff. Like, I've got a whole setup and everything. I've taken them to, like, taken them away heaps, given them so many experiences. And it's I'm always doing stuff alone. And I just hit a point on that holiday like, no, this is the last. I just I thought, I felt it in my waters. This is the last holiday that I ever take them alone. And it was actually the last time I did go on holiday with them to that beach, but for other reasons, not because a man was coming to come on the holiday with me in the future. But anyway, so it was really nice, but it was just, yeah, late at night by myself. And that's the time, like, I just had no one. And and that was a time actually when data was really expensive for your phone and TikTok did not exist. So I mean, if it did, it was probably in America, but it had yet to hit Australian shores, or maybe it had. I'd love to tell you the year. It probably just was newish. I don't know. Anyway, I hadn't heard of it. I wasn't on it. So, I mean, Facebook existed, but there was no data. And I remember on that holiday, I went to try and get this special plan to get data, but they ended up ripping me off. Like, it was this plan where the data limit was huge. Like, there were limits on data back then. You couldn't get unlimited or anything like that. Or high limits, really. But there was this one where it was like, oh, that's a good amount of data. I'll get that. And you would open one screen and it would be like, you've used 4 gigs today. Like, it was like it was a dodgy company because they were giving you, like, I don't know, just say 40 gigs of data for, I don't know, $20. It probably wasn't that, but there's a cap of 40 gigs or something, for example, or 60 gigs or something, I don't know. And then, like, the counter that counts how much data, like, you can look in and see how much you've used, would just go up like so much. Yet when I was on unlimited plans, I was not using much data at all, but I was doing the exact, actually less stuff, obviously, when there was the cap. So I think that was their scam, that they just say you're using more than you are. And I hit like the cap within a night and I did like nothing. So I was like, yeah, not nothing, obviously, but very little, very, very little. And then I got on an unlimited thing. I don't know, it was home Wi-Fi or something. I was on unlimited and I'd used like what I'd used in that period. And then I went and looked just for like shits and gigs, that means shits and giggles, like just to sort of see like, okay, I feel like I've used the same amount of stuff. Let's just look at how much I've used. And of course, on an unlimited plan, it was like, you've not even got a few gig in. And it's like, those people were such scammers. Anyway, I'm not going to say who it was. I'd like to, but it was years ago anyway. Anyway, So I was sorting that out. I was like trying to sort that out, trying to get data. So I didn't have much data. So there was no such thing as TikTok to scroll. Like TikTok when you're lonely is good because you're just seeing people living their lives. They're talking to you. Kind of gives you a bit of dopamine. Like you feel like you're not so alone, but very no Wi-Fi, very limited data, just alone, beautiful place, and there was a beach and just they were going to bed early at that age, and it was just like just that bit of sadness. So I went, okay, I'm not going on Tinder because I know what's there. So what I want is to find a new app. I need to find an app that's like brand new because when they're new, they're always attracting relationship people because they're all about relationships and love. I think Tinder was meant to be like that, maybe. And then all the bad people come in and just ruin it for everyone. So I googled dating apps and I was looking for one that was unheard of, that was a bit left field, that said went on about relationships in the spiel, something small, something little. So I came across some app and I honestly cannot tell you the name of it. It wasn't Hinge didn't exist then. I don't know what it was called. That's how much it never took off. I'm sure it still exists out there. I'm not going to go on Google dating apps. Can you imagine the ads you'd get? No. All your TikTok, all your social media, everything would just become dating ads and they are so annoying. So I don't remember what it was, but it's nothing you've like now the most popular ones in Australia are Bumble, Tinder, and Hinge. I hear about it on TikTok all the time. So it wasn't one of those. It was some other name and it was just weird. And I remember it was really annoying to unjoin, like, because you know how they try and trap you and they make you jump through all these hoops to delete your account? So it was like that. So this little tiny app. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to find the needle in the rough. This app is new and it says it's for relationships. It doesn't say anything about casual. And you can put your search criteria and stuff. Like, yeah, no, this will be good. Like, because, yeah, I have gone on those other ones. Like, I'd temporarily gone on other ones for like 24 hours, lost hope, as I said before, lost faith in humanity and deleted. So I'd done that once or twice. And I was like, oh, I'll just do this one for a day or two. It was only meant to be for like, yeah, 1 or 2 days. But anyway. So I was doing, it was a swipe. It was a swipe thing like Tinder, like right and left or whatever, yes and no. And I got to the perpetrator. Oh, wouldn't it be good if their name was Perpetrator? It would have saved a lot of issues. Like, anyway, I actually went to scroll to no. I actually went to autopilot go no. And I told myself, look, you are so critical. You are only saying no because of like this person. There's nothing wrong. They're just not your usual type. Like, I won't go into specifics because that would give away identifying information, wouldn't it, if I went on about the way they looked? But they weren't my usual type. But I thought, look, we need to step out of the box. We need to try different things because obviously what I was choosing before wasn't that good or working for me. And I thought, okay, I'll go yes. I was literally holding it and starting to push it to no. And I went, okay, I will allow this one to go through just to mix it up and do something different. But if they're not nice, like, no. Like, but anyway, so what I'd do was I'd go through that. And then I had this, oh, this is so funny. This is cringe, so cringe. I had this technique of once I matched with people, I wouldn't go back and look at their photos because, oh my gosh, I was love is blinding myself. Wherever you are, is there a show called Love is Blind? There's an American version, and I don't know, like other countries are doing it now. Australia hasn't gone over and filmed one. They need to get a jig along, but the American one's so good. Like, we don't need to really. So, Love is Blind, if you don't know, is a show where they go into these pods. They can't see each other. They just like hear each other's voice and they bond and they fall in love and get engaged before they meet. And then if they go to the end, they have to decide if they're marrying or not. And if they marry, it's actually a legal marriage. So, marriage. And when I'm filming this, actually, the day this comes out is the day that we get the reunion episode of season 6. That's when this was recorded. I was going to say filmed, recorded. That's when this was recorded. So anyway, what I was saying was I used to match with people. It's like, oh, you're a match. I wouldn't then go in and go, do I find them aesthetically pleasing? Because I was trying to really get away from aesthetically pleasing kind of stuff. I did the right and left swipe to say, could you ever possibly tolerate someone like this? Like, and I was trying to be really lenient and not be super picky, because what I was trying to do was, do a Love is Blind, find the diamond in the rough. But obviously my initial assessment of right and left was non-negotiable kind of situations. So it was just a general kind of thing. And then once I was chatting to them, I wouldn't look at their photos much. I mean, it would pop up with it's a match and you'd see their main photo, but I wouldn't keep looking at the photos and stuff, because I thought if they're good looking, I'm going to be giving them more leeway. Like if I'm attracted to them, I'm gonna let them be a bit more of a dickhead or something to me. I'm gonna let them be not as nice, but I'll think, oh well, but he's totally cute, you know. Or if they're not as good looking, it might change my attitude, the way I talk to them. So I was like, totally, Love is Blind did not exist when this was happening, but I was totally doing it like just wanting to get to know them. And then once I'd established a connection, like, I don't know, so many days or weeks or whatever after talking, depends on how much you're chatting. But once I'd gone, no, like we're getting on really well, I'll now go back and look at the pictures and see, you know, will I like to date this person? You know, not after, like, it wasn't after like ages. It was only after, I don't know, chatting for a bit. I don't know, days, weeks, depends on how much maybe it was days or something. But I wanted to have that initial kind of chat where you figure out if you get along without thinking too much about the pictures, because I did realize when a guy was really attractive, he could say really fucked up shit and I'd be like, huh. Like, and then when, so I was like, no, we're not looking at the pictures. We're not getting distracted by stuff. We're going to see if we can find a genuine connection. Oh, I invented Love is Blind. Anyway, but did it work? No. I mean, it doesn't always work on the show, does it? But I did not cast him for drama like producers of reality TV do. But apparently they all apply for my show. So anyway, what happened was I think we matched and neither of us actually spoke at first. And because I was like, oh, him. I was like, no, he can say hello, like, first, you know. And he didn't, I don't think. I don't know. I don't think he did. And then I was just bored once and I just went, or like, there was no one really on the app. It was a new app. And so I just went, oh, hi, or something. I don't know. After a little bit of time, maybe a day or two or so. I don't know. But I said hi. And then I remember him going on about that actually later, going, yeah, so I matched with you and I thought you were so amazing. I just thought you were so out of my league. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't message me, so clearly you didn't. And he's like, no, like I was like, she's not even gonna like me, so just like I'm not even gonna bother messaging. I'm gonna wait for her to message me. Like, what a crock of shit. Now we know he's a narcissist. We know he had so many narcissistic supply girls on the go and he was just getting down the list and he was just going to leave me matched. And like when he needed a little bit of dopamine, a little bit of a narcissistic supply hit, he would have been like, oh, hey, we matched. But yeah, because they're busy. They're busy boys. So I didn't know that. So I will keep jumping to what I knew. So that's how I met him on the interwebs. And then I waited so long. So I had been through stuff and I was not going to go through or put my kids through anything bad ever again. So I made it clear, like I said, I'm not going to meet you straight away. So if you push me to meet, like, it's not going to happen. And there are a lot of guys on dating apps that will go, oh no, they'll be like, I want a relationship, I want marriage and all this stuff. And I will say to them really honestly, really openly and nicely, look, I'm not one to just meet on the app and then meet you in real life within a day or two. I want to actually see if we have a connection, see if we get on well, you know, discuss, you know, non-negotiables and stuff like that. So we don't waste each other's time. Because, you know, when like, I think it's when you're a single mom, like going on a date, you're gonna make sure the kids are looked after. Sorry, I was just scratching my finger. I don't know if you heard that. Just distracted. You gotta get the kids looked after. You've got to put on makeup and straighten your hair or something. And put clothes on and a bra, like, and then drive to a destination shitting your pants. I always shit myself, not literally, figuratively shit myself, like meeting people with the internet. I get so nervous. So nervous. I get nervous, like, what if they are nothing like their picture? Because I've had my very first meeting someone off the internet experience in like 1999 was the very end of 1999 when the internet was quite fresh. Uh, Nothing like the picture. That's where I really, and I'm not, oh my gosh, I'm not even going to tell you. You will stop listening to me. You will like hate me. I have to tell you, you're going to lose all respect for me right now. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. This is such a neurodivergent thing to do. Oh no, there was another reason I went there. So I flew to Sydney from Brisbane that I was living at then to meet this person. But the thing was, I was flying there anyway because I'd just gone on a cruise from Sydney and met all these cool people from Sydney. So I thought, I really want to go back to Sydney. Like, I just felt like when I went on the cruise and that, I never got to have time in Sydney. We just like flew down, hopped on the cruise, me and a girl I went to uni with, hopped on the cruise, got back on a plane and went home. And I just felt this like, oh, I really want to look around Sydney and hang out at Sydney. And I just came home thinking, wish I got to stay there. And I was just all like missing Sydney. So that's why I kind of went there. And I did meet up with someone who had, I think I even, no, I stayed at their house too. Yes. Yeah, so I met up with someone who I'd met on the ship who actually liked my friend. So we were just like mates and getting on like mates. And I caught up with them down there. I ended up staying at their house for a night. So I wanted to go to Sydney. So it wasn't just to meet this person. Like, not that. I'm too lazy for that. But I was young, so not as lazy as now. But yeah. Oh my gosh, do you want to hear this story? Okay, this is a tangent, but mate, get on this tangent train like choo choo motherfucker. Like, this is funny. This is so neurodivergent of me. I got off the plane and oh, this is so cringe. I've never really told anyone this is so cringe. He had sent me this toy. It was like a stuffed leopard. I'm not one for leopards. I don't hate leopards. Go off leopards, but I'm not, there's people who are obsessed with like tigers or obsessed with leopards and stuff. It was like oh no, it was a cheetah because it was spotty, wasn't it? Now I'm confused quite easily. Anyway, African animals. People can be like really obsessed. I'm like, big cats. Like, I think because I was quite young when I patted one at a local theme park, and I was like, oh, it's so soft like a real cat. I respect them, but I'm not like obsessed with them. But anyway, he kindly sent me this toy. And I thought that was so sweet. Like, that was really nice. Like, honestly, it was. And I said, oh, I'll be holding it when I come off the plane so you can see who I am. Bad move, girl. I should have been in a hoodie, in a hat with a wig and glasses. Like, this is where you learn your lessons. Like, I should have honestly had like wig, glasses, hat, everything, hoodie in the works. And just like, if he looked good, then like, oh, hi, it's actually me here. And then if he didn't, I could have, not, okay, this sounds so, now it's getting worse. If he looked good, it's not all about looks. Right. So he sent me one photo because back then sending a photo took so long. A photo was like all this data over dial-up internet. Like it was a big deal. So he sent me this photo. I can't believe I don't want anyone to hear this. This is really embarrassing. Please, if you know me, like don't even listen. But you're like, oh, I'm really intrigued now. As I was getting off the plane, so he'd sent me one photo and he looked like this cute guy. Like he looked, and in my head, like he just looked like this cute guy. And so I walked off and there was this, okay, sounds so fat phobic, but hey, I did get fat. I put on 60 kilos at one point and I've been obese. So like, yeah, I don't want it to sound all judgy or whatever. And that wasn't like the main issue for me at all. I mean, it was like this guy, oh fuck, I wish I could show you the photo that he sent me because you would be like, that. It was catfishing. This photo looked like a completely different person. There's this giant guy, like huge, and his face, I could hardly make out the face was like the picture. Like, he must have sent a photo of him when he was, I know that's going to sound old Peter. I was going to say when he was 12 or something. Obviously, he was over 16 in the photo, like, duh. But, like, it was obviously, like, a year or two old, or whatever. I mm, it was not him. In the angle, and then I realized he cropped it at a certain point, and I was like, and I would just look at that photo going, "How is that him?" And for me, it was the being catfish thing that made me just instantly like, "No, no, just switch off. No, no, got the ick." Not the ick from his looks. Like, I honestly, if he had even sent that first one and then said, "Oh, wait, I'm gonna send you some more," because I always sent more pics. I've always shown people ugly pics, no makeup, looking really gross, and nice looking pics so that when they meet me in real life, they're like, "Oh, she's all right." Don't send people pictures of you with like makeup and looking good. Because when you meet them in real life, you're meeting them in real life. Send them ugly pics once they like you. So once they're like, "Oh, maybe we should meet," go, "Oh, before we meet, I want to send you ugly photos." Like, literally, I do this and I just send them like all sorts of different, like, just raw, ugly photos because I think, you know what? They're going to be surprised, like, they're pleasantly surprised. And it always works. They always meet me and go, "Wow, you look really good in real life. Wow." Rather than, I had a friend, she'd send photos of her with makeup, looking really pretty in nice dresses out, with her friends. And then she'd go meet them after work, sweaty in her uniform, hair all over, like she didn't even put deodorant on or anything like that, like just looking disheveled and that. And yes, and I said to her, like, I was trying to lightly say, like, "Well, why don't you, like, try and look like your picture?" Because I know when I met someone, they didn't look like the picture, I felt like I'd been deceived and tricked a bit, even though, like, I'm sure they were fine. And I'm like, "You're beautiful." Like, she was beautiful. It was just like, yeah. And she said, "No, I want people to like me like how I am." And I'm like, "Yeah, I support that. Then put a picture of how you look now on as your profile picture." Like, she's gorgeous. She could have just put a picture of herself how she looked then on her profile. And then they'd meet her looking like that, and there'd be no deception kind of thing. But she wasn't all there. Anyway, she would put the most stunning, I don't know if it's edited, but like stunning photo. And then she'd just rock up like that. And they would just think, like, they wouldn't want to know her. And they'd treat her really bad. And I hated seeing her being treated bad. And she was so confused. And it's not like, "Oh, you're not good looking enough." She is. It was just that deception thing. And that's what it was with this guy. As soon as I saw him, I thought, "You fucking tricked me." And I just got off a fucking plane. You know what I went to do? This is another embarrassing thing. I went to turn around and go back on the plane, like as if I'd just got off a train or a bus and you just go get back on. A plane, you can't do that. I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to get back on the plane and go home." It doesn't work like that. So I had to keep walking toward, and I couldn't, I just felt so tricked and deceived. And I know he knew, like, and then things were awkward, and he really liked me because, I was honest and showed him all the photos, as many as you could send back then easily over the dial up. And I'm not crash hot, but I looked like how I presented. And I just felt so deceived. And I tried to think, no, no, it doesn't matter. But it was like getting to know a completely different. It's kind of like if someone's been catfished, you're like trying to put together in your head that this is that person that you've been talking to, but it wasn't. So anyway, it's a long ass story as to why I don't like meeting people in real life, because I worry that I could get tricked like that. And I still feel guilty about that. I still feel like, "Oh, was it because he was big?" And it wasn't the big as in width. It was also like, I mean, I love tall 'cause I'm tall, but it was just like, no, it was his face. Like, his face didn't even look like the face. And that's why I never tell people. And I felt bad about it because I was like, "Oh, I'm just fat phobic. I'm just being mean because he was bigger." But it was the deception in it. It was like, You sent me that photo that looks nothing like what, and you knew I was getting on a plane and not, and I said to him, like, you couldn't just send like one other photo. I think I actually said that to him at one point. Like, I was trying to be really nice about it. Like, I brought it up gently. And he was like, and you're like, how? Like, you just told him he's ugly. No, I didn't do that. But anyway, what my point is he then lied and said, I don't have any other photos. I'm like, you can take one. Yes, we didn't have, wait, no, we didn't have our mobiles didn't take photos back then. Can you imagine it, young people? Yes. Well, that's how it was. But you could scan a picture, and a lot of us had scanners separate to printers. They weren't like all in one. And you had a flatbed scanner, or you could scan at school or uni or college or whatever. So you could scan a real photo, or you could take a photo on a digital camera. Oh, I don't know how you somehow plugged it into a computer. I guess USBs might have existed. I don't know. But there were ways of getting pictures. Like, I did it, and I made sure I sent enough that here's the ugly ones, here's makeup ones as well. I don't want to trick you. And he's like, I just granted, I mean, I respect the fact that yeah, it was a little bit hard, like just wasn't just using an iPhone, but it was just an excuse, like, oh, I couldn't get another photo. Like, he was posting me stuff. He could have posted like a photo. Me, we all back then. You had heaps of paper photos. Like, everyone's taking paper photos. You could have sent something, like they're like a photo that looks nothing like him, and just one like and cropped and stuff. Like, no. So I just felt deceived. That was the reason I just was like, you tricked me. And I instantly just felt unsafe and not okay. And I was staying, oh my gosh, don't judge me. Okay, you're going to judge me. Whatever. Fine. Enjoy the judgment. I was staying at his place. I know. He lived with other people, I think. Did he? I forget. Anyway, I was staying at his. I know. I would. Don't worry. I would never do that now. I would never. Oh my gosh. You're a virgin, young, stupid. Like, and there is no way in this climate today, with what we've learned from the kind of people who are on the internet these days. Back then, it was geeks that were on the internet and using things to like. We had to find people in certain chat rooms and chat programs. Like, there was no such thing as dating online or anything like that. It wasn't like that. So you had to be friends in like chat rooms. And it was just full of like geeks and a lot of neurodivergent people. So the internet wasn't really creepville back then. No one in their right mind today would do that. There is no way I would ever do that again. It's fucking ridiculous. But I guess I had got to know them, established rapport, and like talked a lot. Uh, I trusted whoever they live with as well. Anyway, I was staying with them. That is so, oh my gosh, it's so irresponsible though. I can't even like saying it out loud. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck was wrong with me? Why would I do that? What the Anyway, and I tried to be nice and everything, but I wasn't giving him what he obviously wanted. Like, he wanted to be with me, but when he lived in another city, so it didn't work out, and it got so awkward that I went and stayed at that other mate's house on the last night, and it was a really great night. We had so much fun. We went out. We went clubbing in Sydney under the Coca-Cola sign around there. I don't know. There were like dark alleys. I got drunk because I did when I was younger a bit. Yeah, a lot. No, when I was younger. Party. Like, we had, oh my gosh, speaking of Malibu, I drank Malibu that night. I remember. So I had a really good time catching up with that friend, and they were really nice, and we hung out and I stayed at their house, and then the next day um I got public transport to the airport or whatever, and I went home, and it was like, so the trip wasn't wasted. And I felt so guilty though for not like giving that man, not sex, but like kissing and being like, I'll be your girlfriend, like not to for being so shocked and hurt by the deception. And it wasn't the weight. I could have got past that. It was like it wasn't his face. And it was like, nah, you deceived. Like you did that to trick me. And it's not like, oh, you did it to trick me. We're just meeting 5 minutes away from our homes down a local cafe. He knew I was going on a plane that I paid for and to go down there. And he still had the audacity to just turn up and just think, fuck you, you're here now. Like this is, you know, I don't know. I mean, it was early days of the internet. Maybe he just thought I'll just trick her and she'll. I don't know. Like we were all young then. We're all young and stupid. Clearly, I was the most stupid. Like going to stay somewhere. Like when you're young, you just stay anywhere. You know, you're on a night out and you just crash at your mate's house or your mate's other mate's house. Like the silly things we did before we knew the world was full of predators. Speaking of predators, so I shall continue the story about the predator. If you'd like to pause here, you can pause and come back another time. See you soon. So, where was I? The predator slash perpetrator slash offender slash criminal, now criminal, they were so chill about not meeting me. So I have met so many men on apps that get shitty, like abusive, if you won't meet them straight away, as I was kind of saying before. And before I got into that amazing other story, like that should have been the whole episode. But yeah, I would meet people on like a dating app. We're forwarding to the future now. And they would be like, well, meet me tomorrow. And I'd be like, oh, I just want to let you know this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm serious about this. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste your time. I just want to get to know someone for like, you know, maybe 2 weeks of chatting so that we can, you know, see if we get on all right, see if, and you know, I didn't say non-negotiables because didn't really speak like that then, but, you know, see if we want the same things, if we're getting on all right. And if we are, yeah, I'll definitely meet someone then. I just want to sort of, I didn't use the word screen, but kind of screen, like make sure we get on all right before we go out and meet. And I think I even said to people, if I don't know if I was telling people about the mum thing or whatever, I never like deceiving people. So I would tell, but like, you know, you don't want people to know you're a mum. So I don't know. I know I didn't at first, but I didn't want to deceive people. I know I definitely never said the sexes or ages of my kids because I know that, yeah, they were predators and I'd experienced that. So I, yeah, didn't do that. So, but I said, you know, I'm a single mum. My time, like, I don't get kid free time. I don't have someone who comes and takes my kids away and I get every second weekend free, like a lot of single mums. Like, I get no kid free time. So I need to get them babysat. So it's actually a big deal when I meet someone. And I would take time to sort of gently and really nicely explain this to people. And they would, you know, when they don't get with it, like they would abuse me and say, you're just a time waster, you're just a bitch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like saying just 2 weeks. Like literally, I just want to get to know someone. 2 weeks, that's it. I'm not. And they're like, nah, you just want to talk forever. You wouldn't want to meet. And so I'd have to block all these like nutters. And, you know, that's a red flag if someone's rushing you and pushing you. So when I'd got to the stage of meeting this person online, I already knew, okay, if someone's rushing me to meet, like I'm not going through that shit again. If someone's rushing me, red flag, done. Block, delete, whatever. He didn't. He was so patient, so patient. Turns out he had a lot of people on the go, a lot of girlfriends and sex people and casual chick, and he had a lot of people he was sleeping with. So he was fine. Here I was thinking, I'm the only person he's talking to, because of course he's lying about all that. Like I didn't expect to be the only person he's talking to, but he's like, no, I'll get this. He said, I just went on the app, I matched with you. And then I deleted the app because I don't know, I just felt like I just found all I needed. Why would I want to keep scrolling? Oh my, like, are you for real, mate? swiping. Are you for real? The bullshit that comes out of their mouth. Anyway, so I chatted to him for so long, and it was, and I had friends and family who were like, okay, next time you date, we're going to meet them and like interview them and make sure they're okay because you're so bad at picking people. It's you. You're the idiot who keeps picking bad men. And so I wanted that set up for not long into a relationship if I do meet someone one day. Not obviously straight away. Like it ended up being a month or two or a couple of months in when that happened. But I wouldn't meet them. I would not meet them for 2 months, it turns out. So we chatted and we were chatting every day. And these people, they can text, like they can chat and they can text like really quickly because he's unhinged. He's fast. And he ended up obviously deciding I was his target. And once he's decided that, he was just replying instantly and just chatting, chatting, chatting. And me with my ADHD, I love a chat. So I'll reply like, yeah, I love a chat. And we ended up just like heaps of chatting, like getting to know each other heaps and, eventually having that awkward first call. Oh, so anxious. I hate that. So the time came where it was like, no, it was obvious. Like we were pretty much like in a relationship, like we're chatting all the time, we're talking all the time, where, the only thing left to do is to meet in real life. So it happened. And I just know there would be people out there being like, well, besides still being shocked that I went and met someone in another city, arranged to stay at their house, like, oh, young and stupid. Um, Besides that, they would also think 2 months, like that, no one's going to wait that long. But I talked about things and I made it really clear. And I never expected it to be 2 months, but he was oh so patient, oh so not in a rush. And he was also like, "No, it doesn't matter. Like, no hurry. I just love chatting to you, like all the grooming, love bombing thing." And he had his side pieces. Like, he's good and he knows the longer he chats and creates that connection and those neural pathways, like making, connections in my brain and getting those neurochemicals going. Like we were at a point of like totally having feelings for each other before we met. Like it was, and he'd done his good old grooming love bombing quite well. So he knew what he was doing. It was all part of the plan. And he loved the fact that he was acting like he wasn't in a hurry to make me lower my walls and think I could trust him. And then we met. I was so nervous before meeting him, but I said to myself, look, this person, they're like your best mate at the moment. You're talking all the time. Like, so I thought, when I meet that person, I'm just gonna go up to him and give him a hug because this is like we have a connection. I have Love Is Blind, and I was doing the Love Is Blind reveal literally, like literally. I was like Chelsea, if you're watching this year's American version, season 6, running to my betrothed, although we weren't engaged, so we weren't doing that. But yeah, I went up and hugged him and everything. Oh, I'm just thinking of the grooming and love bombing bullshit he said after that. Oh, when you hugged me, I just knew. And all this bullshit. My gosh. Anyway, we had a coffee. He paid. It was $4. He made a big deal about paying. So I was very thankful and grateful for my $4 coffee. It was at this cafe that there's actually a few have closed down now, but they're these real budget ones where for $4, I think you used to get a bottle of water, a biscuit, and a coffee. Anyway, so that's what we got. And we just sat talking for ages, and he just lied and 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 lied. Well, I got my neurochemicals and fell in love. And he was not a pretty. Hey, this makes up for my, that guy that I saw when I got off the plane. This guy looked worse Like, aesthetically speaking, yeah, I don't wanna give away, like, identifying stuff, but I haven't really said the details on anyone's size, but he was, like, bigger and, like, very less attractive than that other one probably anyway. So, that just goes to show, like, this one, though, I had an idea what they look like, that they sent me all the pictures, so I got to know them, so it was perfectly fine. Whereas, obviously that other one, it was just the deception of it. Yeah, them not looking like the picture at all. So, I'm not all shallow. Definitely not. Definitely, this person was like not my usual type or anything at all. So, a couple of things I wanted to add just at the end here that I think might help other people. Besides, I'm still like so ashamed of that other story I told. Anyway, but keep it real. Hashtag real. Uh, I want you to know that there are two tricks he played then. He pretended, he was like, I know you wanted to like kiss me and everything. Like not that day. Like I definitely didn't. Like day one, no. But like once we were like seeing each other more and everything, and you waiting for like first kiss, whatever, he's like, I knew you wanted it. And he just pretended he wasn't ready. Like I'm such like I haven't been with a woman for he lied and said he hadn't been with a woman for years. And made up this date of the last time he was with a woman and the story that went with it and everything. And then the date kept changed a couple of times. And I'm like, what? What? Ask again. He's like, oh, no, no, that's what I meant when I said that, like gaslighting, like, no, no, you remembered it wrong. But, yeah, so he was actively, oh, I feel sick. I feel sick. So I actually thought, well, what if, because I was like, this guy's waited 2 months to meet me. Oh my gosh, I just had another memory. Oh, this is so gross, but it's on him because he's such a liar. He said he hadn't self-pleasured like the boys like to do, um, himself since meeting me online. And I said, that's really weird because at first when we matched like and met online, like we didn't chat like heaps, like the first whatever days or whatever. And he's like, no, I just knew. Like, I just knew. Like, all this bullshit. And I'm like, I never told you to do that. Like, you didn't have to. He's like, it just felt wrong. I just couldn't do it. You know what this guy was? This guy was like, and then like the waiting and, until like things would be physical with us. Like, I just now know, like, even when things were, like, I just know he's cheating the whole time. Like, that's what narcissists do. And I did find out from the other woman eventually. One of the other women. Oh, there were so many. There were so many. It was disgusting. Anyway, it's gross. It's so gross. It's so unhygienic. It's just really gross to just do that. Anyway, so yeah, he lied that he wasn't doing that, and he was actually with women and himself and everyone. Like, y- they just lie about everything. Like, they lie about things they don't have to lie about. But I think they develop a character and they just decide this is going to manipulate her. This is going to get the result I want. It's going to get her complete control over her. And that is what makes me feel powerful, makes me feel big. And so that's my goal here. And he's very drawn to the fact I was a nurse too. He really liked that. And nurses and teachers are the professions that get the most DV. Fun fact. But I mean, every profession does because women, like, how many of us? Like, so many of us. So that doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, he was really fixated on that. Weird. Anyway, so my last things I wanted to say was they can pretend. This is the extent a narcissist, psychopath, criminal, bad person, bad egg, red flag will go to manipulate you. They can pretend, oh no, I'm not ready. Like he didn't say I'm not ready to kiss, but he was like, like putting it off and like trying not to and like weird shit and pretending, he wanted to wait. No, no, I'm not even doing that myself. Like I'm so committed. Like so they commit to a role. Like there's a guy on a TV show right now. I'm not gonna go tangent on it. It's a reality show in Australia and it's like he's still dating this girl on the outside and we know that he's dating her to this isn't Love is Blind America, this is an Australian show, to just keep his image And it's like narcissist, and he's had to date her for ages after the show, was filmed, and then he'll have to date her for like months after, like until all the hype dies down. But everyone just knows like he's just gonna drop it like a hot pie. Like if you had a hot pie, would you drop it? I don't know, it's a weird analogy. But he's just gonna drop her like once all the hype dies down. And that's the thing I was thinking, like people don't realize how committed narcissists are. They are so committed to the cause. If the result is a really good public image and fame, a guy will use a girl for a year or something. They will do anything they have to do to get the result in the end they want. And he'd cheat on her the whole time. Like that's just the kind of thing they do. They think, "Oh, I'll just have a main girlfriend, whatever. I can do what I want on the side." Like, you know, it's easy and it saves my image. It's just so I just want a word of warning. Like if you meet a guy and he's so patient and he wants to wait too and blah blah blah, it can be bullshit. I'm not saying it's bullshit. If they are a narcissist, if they are an abuser, if they're a calculated psychopathy type person, it can all be bullshit. It's not, and that's the thing, like a nice person, a genuine person would do those things because they're emulating a genuine person. So it's a jungle out there. And the other thing, the final thing I wanted to add was that the first time we slept together, he raped me, but I didn't call it rape. I didn't know it was rape. And I think I talked about it in another episode. And because I didn't know not consenting was right, I thought I had to fight him because I had a guy try to do it just after high school. A few months after high school, and in high school, a guy I knew from high school like just jumped on me and he wouldn't get off and he was trying, and I used everything in me to and I had to fight this person off, like fight. And uh so I think like rape's more like that, like the fighting and that, like in my head, like back then. But now we say no, rape is non-consent. And he knew it was non-consensual because I had made it clear, I was saving it for a certain point in the relationship and we just met. And that's how manipulative these people are. And I just want you to know that they'll pretend they want to go slow. They'll say, oh yeah, no, I don't want to do it yet either. I want to wait till like XYZ too. Whereas like other guys will say, I'm not waiting that long, piss off, see ya, block you. But it's a good thing in a way because they're gonna like not waste your time, and it's better than being manipulated. Whereas these manipulators go, oh no, I'll wait, and then like just force it on you physically, like shove it in and then gaslight you that no, you consented, no, you didn't, like you didn't, and no, you want this, like you said you wanted it, like, and just knowing they've already got that foundation of that neurochemical, like those connections in your brain, that you will start being gaslit and manipulated by them. And he just knew that, oh, she's not going to give it to me. I'll take it. Like what? And so now I can use the R word with it. But back then, we all sort of weren't so educated and didn't think things in patriarchy had taught us, it's all your fault if you weren't making it a million times, like I made it clear. But, anyway, I've already had an episode on sexual assault. I'm not going to get into it now, but I just want people to know, like, the start of it, like how I met them and everything. And yeah, and how I did then, a couple of months in, got people to meet and assess, and they all loved him because he's so manipulative. So some people just jump through hoops. Not many. Like, there's one thing I wanted to actually do a whole episode on it, but I thought, like, no, stuff it. Like, I'm just going to add it here. There's this TV show in Australia. So Australians only like have to listen to this, or you can listen along. And it was a TV show I was going to talk about before. It's called Married at First Sight, Australia. Overseas, apparently you can't watch it without a VPN. How annoying is that? Anyway, they always cast a narcissist every season. So, it's all drama. And the fact that they actually ethically seek out narcissistic behavior to cast them, knowing they will cause drama. One was so abusive one year. Like, but because it wasn't physical, they're like, what are you talking about? It's fine. Like, and it was all shades of coercive control, which is starting to be illegal in the world. And it was disgusting. But anyway, that's what they do. So one thing I wanted to add is if anyone is in Australia and you're watching Married at First Sight, uh, they're actually giving us DV survivors a really bad name at the moment because they're editing it in a way and also casting it and everything else in a way where they have the narcissist and then they have the girl who's with him, and they're showing us his red flags, like so many red flags, so obvious, like, and everyone in all the other couples are telling this girl and calling out all these red flags and all this really bad behavior, and she's just going, no, no, I believe him. No, I don't care that he said that. Like, he's mine. I'm just going to stay with him. I'm just going to stay with him. And she looks so stupid because she just keeps saying, oh, no, no, I'm committed to him. I'm just going to stay with him. And he is, there is so much evidence of all this stuff he has done. Like, and he's done stuff in front of her and everything. And it's so, so bad. But she just keeps going, no, 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 I want to stay with him. And I was just thinking, I was so frustrated that they're like obviously editing it in a way that gets them views, but they're editing it in a way that is showing us in a negative light because people think, oh, so this is what it's like for a woman in DV, because everyone in Australia is now learning what narcissists are like, what abusers are like, and they're like, oh, they're sneaky, they're this, they're that. But they're editing it and they're showing the cutting out and just showing all these red flags. And then they're showing this girl going, oh no, I'm staying with him. They're not showing because last year there was a girl that after it was over, she came out and said how much he was grooming and love bombing her, and that was never filmed, and how much he was manipulating and gaslighting her and everything. And so she was smitten. And everyone's like, why? You're so stupid. Like, but no one, people didn't really like in her face. Like, it wasn't as obvious in her face. Whereas this year, it's really obvious. And this girl's like, nah. And this girl's also got a chip on her shoulder when she gets defensive and goes, look, I'm sick of you talking about it. I don't give a shit what everyone, oh, she actually said the F word. I don't give an F what everyone thinks. He's the one I'm staying with. Like, it's fine. And I'm just like, now, like, people who don't get it, people who haven't been through DV won't, what they will think that all of us were served up this very obvious platter of red flags and we just went, no, I want to stay with him. And we're all just stupid because she's copying it on social media. Everyone's just ripping her to shreds like, she's so dumb, she's so stupid, why is she staying with him? And how they're editing it, showing her real defensive about it and like real attitudey. Yet I watched it tonight and there were the cast, like the rest of the cast really like her. They're like, we like her, we respect her, we just don't like him and we want to save her from him. So I realized that they're editing it so well. And there were bits where you could see in them in the background talking. She gets on really well with everyone, but they don't show that bit. They only show her sitting there and, blankly looking at someone. So it looks like a death stare and then going, no, I want to be with him. So they're making people hate her. And they're also making her look so stupid. And she is, like, she's staying with this obviously toxic narcissist, but the way they're also editing it in a way to make her look real attitude. She might have a little bit of one, but they're really amping it. So it just makes it look like people will think, oh, you were with a narcissist. Oh, you got abused. You went through DV. And they'll just think of that girl and like the only narcissistic example they've ever seen. And they'll just think, oh, well, you obviously ignored the red flags. Like, and they'll say to each other, oh, she's so stupid. Like, why would you get in a relationship with an abuser? And why would you even stay 1 second with someone like that? Obviously, like, she's saying he did XYZ. Well, this guy on TV did XYZ. Why didn't she leave? Like this guy instantly was like, pretty much is overt narcissist, covert and overt. And obviously the one that nearly killed me was covert, well hidden. And this was overt, edited well, and just like red flag city. And I'm just frustrated that it's making us look like absolute fools. Like, people will think that we are faced with a guy like that and we continue to say, no, I want to be with him. There are moments once we're trauma bonded where we are a bit, justifying staying in the relationship or going back in the relationship. But that's once we're completely brainwashed in a sense. That's not instantly. This was like instant. Like this, yeah, it was like instantly he was just horrible to her and she was just so, it's, yeah, kind of making us look like people will think DV is a guy acting like a full raging narc from day one. Like, if they act like a full raging narc day one, we are not getting a relationship with them. And that brings us back to like this whole meeting this guy. He was doing narc things like lying and manipulating and being, a pathological liar. But he wasn't doing narc things as in doing all the negative, obvious behaviors that I could see and the abusive behaviors I could see. He was in the love bombing and grooming phase. So they don't see that on this show. They cut it out too. They cut all that out. And this guy is horrible on the show. It is obvious, but yeah, the editing doesn't really help the situation. And also, it's not like that. If anyone is watching Married at First Sight in Australia, none of the people who have abused me have been as obvious as this season's narcissist. Oh, yeah. Last season's in 2023 reminded me very much of the man who tried to unalive me. So, but again, she said there's a lot of love bombing and grooming and just, behind closed doors that no one saw. So, yeah, imagine someone editing, like filming your whole relationship and editing it and just showing his like crappy behaviors and just making you look like you're so stupid. Anyway, so that brings us to the end. So that is how I met the, not predator, it's the other P word, perpetrator. Like perpetrator, criminal, predator, offender, the horrible person who shall not be named. Well, I now have to ask you, please, please, please stay safe, legends and legendettes. And email me if you'd like, liabfpodcast@gmail.com. See you next week. Don't know what I'm going to talk about, but it'll happen. Will it though? Hey, guys. You've probably already turned it off. I do that. When they're like saying goodbye, I'm like, whatever, I'm done, I'm out of here. So no one will even hear this. But if I can't do an episode, I don't know if I'll quickly upload like sorry, no episode this. I think I'll just skip it if I can't for some reason coming up because things are changing soon and time might be an issue soon. But I'm gonna try my best. Anyway, stay safe. Love ya. Bye.